Good evening and welcome to African News Update on Top Accolade News. First, the headlines. Obasanjo advocates for Afro-democracy. Saudi Arabia and Nigeria clash over mass visa cancellations. Kenya to lead United Nations force to Haiti amid human rights concerns. Details coming up shortly. In politics, Obasanjo advocates for Afro-democracy. Former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo has asserted that Western liberal democracy has failed in Nigeria, branding it as a system forced upon the continent. Addressing a high-level consultation in Abeokuta, Obasanjo criticized Western liberal democracy for not considering the views of the majority. He argued that the system essentially leads to a government of a few, representing only some of the people, while the majority are left neglected. Calling for a shift to what he terms Afro-democracy, Obasanjo emphasized that African countries should define and design their governance systems rather than adopting ones that have proven ineffective for their unique context. On international relations, Saudi Arabia and Nigeria clash over mass visa cancellations. Tensions between Saudi Arabia and Nigeria have flared up as 177 Nigerians faced visa cancellations upon arrival in Jeddah. The incident occurred on an Air Peace flight, and only 87 individuals were permitted entry. Some passengers, reportedly pilgrims aiming to perform the Umrah in Mecca, had their visas revoked. Amid a social media uproar, the Saudi embassy clarified that the affected passengers provided incorrect information for a visa category not applicable to them. Air Peace expressed shock, asserting strict adherence to Saudi Arabian profiling procedures. Questions linger about the incident's timing, coinciding with Nigerian President Bola Tinubu's ongoing visits to Saudi Arabia, indicating potential strains in diplomatic relations. Regarding security, Kenya to lead UN force to Haiti amid human rights concerns. Kenya's human rights record is under scrutiny as the country prepares to lead a UN multinational force to combat criminal gangs in Haiti. Amnesty International Kenya has called for a thorough examination to the human rights and humanitarian implications of deploying 1,000 Kenyan police personnel. Critics point to Kenya's history of alleged human rights abuses, particularly in dealing with demonstrations. The UN has previously expressed concern about police brutality during anti-government protests in July, where up to 23 people were reportedly killed. Despite opposition from human rights groups and concerns about Kenya's approach, the multinational force is set to tackle escalating violence, including killings, kidnappings, and rape in Haiti over the next year. You are watching the news on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us on safety and security. European Union reports massacre with nearly 100 civilians killed. A grim report emerges from Burkina Faso, where the European Union's diplomatic service reveals a devastating village massacre. In the north-central region of Zahongo, nearly 100 civilians, including women and children, were reportedly killed. The attack is the latest in a series of brutal incidents as Burkina Faso grapples with rising violence perpetrated by Islamist groups. Both the US government and the EU have condemned the attack, urging the transitional authorities to thoroughly investigate and identify those responsible. Since the military coup in July 2022, Burkina Faso has been under military rule, with efforts to quell Islamist groups proving challenging, resulting in multiple civilian casualties. Amnesty International highlighted their situation, stating that large part of the nation are under siege by armed groups committing war crimes and human rights abuses. In sports, Mohamed Salah targeted during Egypt's World Cup qualifier. In a shocking sports incident, football star Mohamed Salah faced unsettling moments during Egypt's World Cup qualifier against Sierra Leone. In the 89th minute, with Egypt leading 2-0, pitch invaders targeted Salah. Stewards, some in military uniforms, swiftly intervened, guiding Salah off the pitch. Videos on social media depict a chaotic scene with Salah appearing calm despite the disturbance. Salah, a key player for Liverpool, hasn't publicly addressed the incident, but images on his Instagram suggest his focus remains unwavering. The match itself saw Sierra Leone finishing with 9 players after 2 red cards, while a brace from Trezeguet secured Egypt's 2-0 victory, maintaining their unbeaten streak in Group A. Salah, now returning to Liverpool, faces anticipation ahead of a crucial Premier League match against Manchester City. That concludes our African news update for today. Stay tuned for more news and development from across the continent. Thanks for joining us. I am Jonathan Powe. Connect and engage with us on all our social media handles. Do have a wonderful day.